So, today we're going to speak about what the order is.
The Order of the Lily and the Eagle.
The Order of the Lily and the Eagle. And I'm just wondering, right, the Order of the Lily and the Eagle. Well, it's essentially a group of people that come together in order to help spread the teaching of the founder of the order, Marie. And because that her teaching has helped us, we have the desire to want to help other people with that same knowledge, that same truth.
How long has the order been in existence?
It's been kicking around for about 100 years.
Okay, so it's not new.
110 years, actually, nearly. No, it's not new, but it's not ancient. It's been... that's it. I haven't got anything else to say.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, it's been around 100 years, and it's got quite a history in many ways. But anyway, enough of that.
Well, what's it all about today, and what is its aim and goal?
Well, the goal is to spread the teaching that Marie left us. And she was quite wise, in my opinion, because she wanted us to prove what she was saying to ourselves, and if we found that to be a truth for us, then we would apply it. That's the basic idea. Have you looked at this? What are the implications? And then apply the consequences of that. So a very simple example would be, if everybody is different, there must be a reason for that. And if everybody is different, they're not the same, and you can spend some time trying to prove people are the same, or they're not the same. If you do that, eventually you come to a conclusion one way or other. They are the same or they're different. I came to the conclusion that they're different. And based on that, I then should respect the other person's difference. Doesn't mean I have to agree with them, but it doesn't mean I go to war with them.
Yes.
It means I respect what they have to say. I may think it's wrong, but that's fine. That's for them, as long as they don't try and force me to be like them. So that is an observation that Marie gave us. We're all different. I struggled with that for a long time to try and prove that for my own satisfaction.
Did you not believe it to begin with?
I had that kind of mind, which is, somebody says something to me and I'll go, well, there's a positive there, and then, there's a negative there, and what if we take that into account and something else, and that's just me. Other people will just go, well, that's obvious.
Yeah, which is me. It has always been something that seemed obvious to me.
Yeah, well, to me it wasn't, for whatever reason. Maybe because when I looked at society, I saw that everybody was following the same things. And I was mixing up difference with conformity. People are conforming to what the school wants, what your parents want, what society wants. And I mixed that up with are they different? And it's patently obvious they're different. So I was sorting out in my head the issue of people conforming to something and them being different. And they're two different things, you see. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, I'm quite OCD about things. There are other words for that, but we won't go there.
So it also sounds like freedom is a very important concept in the order. To allow other people to have their own expression.
I think
well as your own
absolutely correct, yeah. I mean, I know for myself, if there had been a hint of coercion or imposition, you wouldn't have seen me for dust. Boom, gone. You're trying to get me to do something that you think is best for me. Mm-hmm. How can you possibly know what's best for me? Only I know what's best for me. Unfortunately, I don't know what's best for me.
How did you originally get attracted to the order?
Well, I would like to say some mystical, wonderful event that my eyes were opened, I was awoken, or is there made awake I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but anyway, I just, no, that didn't happen to me. I have to say I had rather base desires. I kind of was, yes, I wanted to keep in touch with a Greek woman, and that was it. I liked the teacher, the initiator, the guide, George. We got on very well. We had a good rapport right from the beginning, and he was very, very, very straightforward and honest. There was absolutely no hiding or making it complicated. He just made it very straightforward and simple.
And that appealed to you.
Well, I am very simple. The old head is, I can't deal with complicated things, because I always felt, because I did physics and all that kind of stuff, and I always felt that complication is hiding something.
That's interesting, yeah.
Whereas if you stripped all these things down to their simplicity, they are very simple. Physics, chemistry, mathematics. You end up getting lost in the terminology. And the thing I liked about George, he made it very simple. So that's how I ended up in the order. Lust on the one hand.
At what point did things change for you? Because obviously that's not the case today. It hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah, well, the next step was I'm stubborn. I wouldn't give in. Because from very young, I had dyslexia, but I didn't know I had it. And I looked at other people and I thought, well, if they can write something just like that, so should I. And I wouldn't give in. So in the order, it was like, well, I was given, we call them theorems. They're guides, they're signposts, whatever you want to call them. It's like, go and have a look at this. What do you think about it? How does it make you feel? What are your conclusions about that? How would you apply it in your daily life? And for me, one of the most important aspects of anything, if you can't apply it to your daily life, then what's it for? And that's just me. Other people love the philosophical consequences of what that means and what something else means. Yes, it's interesting. I like that as well. But the main thing is, does it help me pay my mortgage? Does it help me be a better person? Does it help my friends and family and what have you? Does it help me change the way I act as a person? So when did that change? I met George in 1993. I started work on the order in 94, and I would say probably last week I was awoken. But no, there wasn't a clear cut. It happened then, but it took me about 10 years to go through the first 36 theorems.
How many theorems are there altogether?
Yeah, that's a good question. The basic theorems are 36, which are about the individual, society, our spirit, our soul, and then there are a further 9 theorems on ethics.
What do you mean by ethics?
They're guides for how to act morally. So we cover things like what's good, what's bad, what's wisdom, what's ignorance, what's love, what's hate. And by going through that, you begin to see within yourself, and it's within your soul, really. It's not so much logic.
Yes.
It's more to do with how you feel.
It certainly seems like much of this is about your feelings and getting to manage yourself better from that aspect.
I think we feel really mainly as a human being, as people. We feel stuff. We're moved to do things because, it
certainly seems to be where most of the problems in our lives come from. Certainly has been true for me.
It is it is the centre in many ways. It's the core of our being, we might say. There are other words for that, but it's essential that if we don't feel right, if we're not happy, if our emotions are all over the place, that's all inside what we call the soul. we can call it what we want, level 3 if we want. But anyway, it's where we do the feeling, where we have our emotions, where we just know that's not right. So, for instance, we recently we had a big case of children at school in the UK who weren't getting fed in the morning by the parents because they couldn't afford to pay for food. So immediately, very rare for somebody to go, oh, that's all right then. No. Almost everybody will immediately go, no, that's wrong. It's not a logical thing. It's an emotional, immediate. So no, that shouldn't happen, particularly in apparently such a rich country. So yes, we feel first. That's what we do. And then we try and make sense of it, if we're lucky. In our head, we try and think about it. Yeah. So the order, yes. Is this anything to do with the order? Not really. What I'm describing is to do with the individual. What does the order do itself it's a focal point, if you want, to provide guides and for people who want to learn to come to. It's like a place. You could say it's like a college or a school or a group, but it doesn't really matter. There are people who want to help others by guiding them, not dictating to them, but guiding them, and people who want to find out for themselves, to better themselves. That's really what the order is about. It can be turned into all sorts of weird things, but that's the core.
You mentioned the term initiation. What is that all about?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, it's actually just like being in school. They say, right, you're going to learn how to spell this word, and they teach you how to spell and write and what have you. In essence, we're trying to help the person learn about themselves. That's essentially what the teaching that Marie gave us is, which is, do you know you've got a personality? No, have I got a personality? Really? And you investigate, well, what do we mean by personality? Is it a character? Is it an individual? What is it? So you're basically challenging your mind and your emotions, because I've met people who said, oh, you mean I've got a personality? I really do have one. Yeah, you've got one. And for them, it actually was a surprise. Maybe because they'd never thought about it. So it gives you that push to start analysing, seeing what's what within yourself, and get a better understanding of other people as well through studying what's going on inside of you. So initiation is essentially that journey of, I am ignorant, and I put my hand up, and absolute ignorance, even though I'd studied all this science, to actually going, you know what, I don't know that much. And that path is a continual, and to be honest with you, I love it, because I discover stuff about myself and other people almost every day. I'm fascinated with people. I never used to be, but I'm interested in them now, mainly to find out how come you've ended up that way. Usually, why are you crippled in that way? And I don't mean that in a judgmental way, because when I looked in the mirror at the beginning, I suddenly realised, oh my God, you're a mess. Okay, I just got up in the morning and I hadn't combed my hair, what was left of it, and what have you. But you suddenly realise that you just don't know much at all,
Yes.
And luckily, George, who helped me, my guide, my initiator, took me through the process of initiation. And when we completed, I said, George, so what do we do now? We finished the 36 theorems. What do we do now? He said, well, we go back to number 1 again and go through them again. And the truth of the matter is, when you come back to the number 1 again and you go through again, there's a whole load of stuff that you never noticed, because you've understood certain things, and then when you come back, suddenly there's and that realization, those moments of light bulb, are joyous. It really is wonderful. You discover something for yourself, Somebody didn't tell you it. So George wasn't telling me stuff. He was just giving the theorems, the guides that Marie gave us. And he would go, yeah, off you go, tell me what you think. And we say we give the theorems, the teaching, in freedom. Now, we discuss this on our webpage as best we can, because, of course, you can never really get across the true meaning of things. But we try our best. If anybody is interested, they can go to archa2z.net, or if you're American, I leave it to you, Larry, to say it.
archa2z.net.
And you'll find it's a very straightforward, simple website, and we're trying to basically say what we're doing is totally free, not just financially. The only cost is the time you put into it, but it's free in the sense that you're not bound to the order. We give the first 15 theorems freely to do whatever you want with them. And it's a bit shocking because some of the formations out there of the order aren't necessarily working in this manner. But this is the manner that we choose, because that we believe this is the way that it should be done. Other formations will do it a different way. But without question, for us, number one is freedom. If there's any imposition, any request for money, any of that, no. It's not, for us, it's not acceptable. And apart from that, I can't think of anything else, unless I've missed anything, that's core in what we do. First, we're visible. That's one of the most interesting things.
What's required of someone that wants to get involved in
they have to be 5'10" and above. No, normally we say you have to be 18 years old and above, although in many ways we could say 16-year-olds, because there has been a definite progression. But anyway, 18. You have to want to better yourself, and also you would like to help other people. But the main thing is we have to help ourselves first before we move on to helping others. And the other one, which is quite a strange one, is you have to have a sense that there is something greater than you.
Why is that?
Well, I don't mean the government is greater than you. I mean, there's something, some people call it God, but it for instance, George asked me, he said, so do you believe in God? And I went, what do you mean by God? So, because there are so many meanings to that word that, and my experience with religion as opposed to spirituality made me very wary of all those kinds of things. And his answer was, well, something that is greater than you, something that's invisible, something that is, I can't even think of the right words to say it, but I think everybody in their life have a sense that there is something looking down on us and helping us. We all have a moment when we think, how did I get away with that? I didn't die, an accident, and miraculously, so something that's greater than us. In other words, we don't think that we are the bee's knees, that we are ultimately the rulers of the universe, and no, there's something beyond that. Okay, human beings have that tendency to imagine that they are all powerful and what have you. You look at little kids, you can see that in them. For them, they are like that. And of course, adults often still are like little kids. So yes, something greater than you. There is another one that we're not too happy about having people who make a living out of esoteric matters. So tarot reading, palm reading, magicians, because I think people feel in the order that the teaching of the order could be used as a weapon against people. So there's that little fear. Now, I'll make it sound like we're teaching you something that's, really dangerous. But it isn't. It is very, very simple. Find out who you are and then change what you don't want or you don't like within yourself, because you have that ability to decide who and what you are.
And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about in the future podcast.
I think so, yes. That's the key to what we're talking about. And in fact, we could stop this podcast here absolutely now and say, right, guys, everybody listening, go away and just be you. Not what your parents want you to be, not what the school wanted you to be, not what society wanted you to be, but just be you. And you'll find that it's very difficult because you don't know who you are. And that's
if you're honest.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're honest. I mean, from when I was very young, and when I mean young, I mean with George, when I was 35, thinking I knew everything, I suddenly realised how unconscious and blind and idiotic, the rubbish I was carrying around because I thought I knew everything. And that's it, sunshine. We basically have covered, I hope we've covered the what the order is, what we're trying to do, the aim of we use certain phrases like universal charity, and there's one on the website which is love and reciprocity established in the heart of humanity. Basically that means play nice with each other, be kind, be tolerant.
And certainly anyone that has any questions or issues is encouraged to contact us.
Oh yes, please do. I mean, it's one of the joys getting people contact me and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, how am I going to answer that question? So please feel free to try and catch me out, because it gives me the opportunity to exercise what's left of my little brain. But yes, if you have questions, it is serious what we're doing. But on the other hand, we must understand that humanity is quite laughable. I catch myself going into one of my little moods, and it's like, oh no, I've done it again. But you could either beat yourself up or you laugh at it and say, okay, I'll try better to stop doing that. And it's funny, because you can watch yourself doing things and you think, oh God, look at me. What am I doing that for? So it is very, very important. We're trying to be normal human beings. Most of us are not, because we're chasing things which don't help us at all. For one example is money. It is important. We need money to live. Don't get me wrong. And, I've worked all my life from 14 and I'm still working. I'm 65. I'm meant to have retired, but I'm still working. And I'm not working in esoteric blah, 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 blah. No, I'm working as an engineer. Hence the way I am in my rationality, which might put people off, but I do try not to be like that. I'm trying to be a more rounded human being. Good luck with that, Kevin. So we forgot to say who we were, Larry, at the beginning.
We did, didn't we?
So I'm Kevin.
I'm Larry.
Right. Now you can look us up on the internet and hopefully you'll find nothing. Any other questions we should? Because if you go
I think this is enough.
If you go to archatoz.net, you will find our contact details, the email, and also it goes into further details of various other things. In fact, the links, hopefully, for these podcasts will be there as well. But there are a few other interesting bits and pieces, documents for people to have a look at. So
feel free.
Yeah, feel free to have a look. I would draw your attention to one of the documents, which is called To the Candidate. It's almost at the bottom of the page. You press on the link and to the candidate is basically describing what the moral, and by moral I mean how the order acts, physically acts. So it's almost like a contract. We're saying we're going to help you to help yourself. So we expect you at least to apply yourself, to put the time in. If you choose not to, we can't force you to do that. But anyway, that gives you an idea of what we believe in. One I would like to mention is that this is open to anybody, not just men or women or, this Christian, Sikh. No, you can have your own religion, your own philosophical beliefs, and you will be respected, and we would expect you to respect other people's religion, beliefs, and what have you. And that's the kind of contract. We'll help you to help yourself. That, if you want, is initiation. Another way of describing initiation.
Again, have a look, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
Yes, please do. Okay, so I think we'll wrap up for that for now.
Okay, signing off for now.
Bye-bye from me.
And me.